It's no secret that Despicable Me 4 will be packed with new characters. That's why we've compiled a list with details about each of the 8 new characters in the franchise and some interesting information we've discovered about their roles and origins in the 6 Minions movie and Grus family. So you know, just stick with us until the end of this video. Poppy! Undoubtedly, the biggest surprise among the new characters in the new Despicable Me movie is the inclusion of the red-haired teenage girl aspiring to be a supervillain, Poppy. What we know so far about Poppy is that she is a teenager who probably lives in the city of Mayflower and that she is a big fan of Gru. It's even very likely that she lives in the same building as Gru, as she apparently lives in an apartment since she does her dance steps in a place from which her kitchen is visible. This is more common in smaller spaces. This can be seen from her villainous style of dressing, where you can see, for example, that she uses the letter P in various places, like on her chest and on her belt. Another interesting factor is that she probably studies at the Academy for Aspiring Supervillains, since she helps Gru and the Minions get in there. Additionally, we can't help but highlight that there is a striking physical resemblance between the girl and Gru, especially their noses, which are thin and quite long, indicating that perhaps, I repeat, perhaps, there is some degree of relationship between them. Maybe a niece or daughter that Gru didn't know about. If that's the case, Gru has had more girlfriends than we imagined. Naughty! Maxim le Mal! Maxim will be the main villain of Gru's 4th movie, and it's very clear that there's a feud between them. We can see that he's someone who values fashion codes a lot, as he's very well dressed in a refined green coat with golden details. Not to mention his beautiful golden bow tie, along with his super stylish glasses. Furthermore, we can perceive that he has some connection with cockroaches, as his super robot is a giant cockroach. There are 2 theories about Maxim that are very cool, but we don't have much information about his origin. The first one would be that Maxim and Gru studied together at the Academy for Aspiring Supervillains, and from there they developed a kind of villainous rivalry. And at some point, Gru ended up being responsible for his imprisonment, already working for the Anti-Villain League, making Maxim even more furious with Gru. The other theory states that Maxim may be the son of none other than Dr. Nefario, because both have glasses with rounded lenses with shades of greenish blue. The reason for Lamal's anger against Gru would be the fact that his father paid more attention to Gru since his childhood than to his own son. This would have generated a lot of resentment in the boy, who grew up and became a supervillain inventor, like a giant mechanical cockroach. And you, what theory do you have about the new villain of the movie? Comment down below so we can know! And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click the subscription button, okay? Valentina. Maxim isn't alone. He has a girlfriend named Valentina, and she's strongly connected to fashion. Our theory is that she might be French. Her clothes are predominantly pink, and she wears a gigantic pair of glasses with a completely white frame that stands out a lot. Furthermore, we can see that she has very refined white gloves and a slender chin, in addition to wearing a bright red lipstick. In other words, she seems to care a lot about her appearance. If I were to guess, I'd say all her super items must be related to this, like a laser lipstick, a mini explosive mirror to touch up her makeup, and so on. Surely she was the one who helped Maxim escape from prison and must have used the giant mechanical cockroach to do so. We believe they've been dating since their time at the Supervillain Academy, which would show that they've been close for many years. Surely she will be Lucy's main rival in the movie, and undoubtedly we will see the 2 of them facing off at some point near the end. I'll love to see this battle. And you? Gru Jr. Undoubtedly, Gru Jr. is the cutest new character of all. We can see that he's a mini Gru, but with his mother's hair color, red. But his small, long nose is just like his father's, along with his grumpy expression, at least when he's near his father. We can see that he also wears clothes very similar to Gru's, with the typical gray scarf with dark stripes, and his baby outfit is totally gray, making the connection between father and son even clearer. Furthermore, when he fully masters Honey Badger, we can see that he has innate abilities to deal with danger, which will probably make him a great supervillain if he takes after his father, or an agent fighting against supervillains if he inherits his mother's calling. The fact is that he will accompany Gru and the Minions on some super secret mission, which indicates that probably Lucy and the girls were kidnapped, and since Gru Jr. had no one to stay with, Gru ended up taking him and the Minions on the mission to invade the Academy for Aspiring Supervillains. In fact, the next new character we're going to talk about is closely related to this. Remember that lady who moves around in some kind of turbocharged wheelchair? We found out at the table inside the Supervillain Academy room that her name is Principal Ubelschlecht, which by itself means it's a name of European origin. Principal Ubelschlecht is simply the big shot over there, and we can say she's a bit narcissistic, as we see a small statue of her head on her desk showing that she has somewhat dictatorial airs. Additionally, we can notice two other very interesting things about her. The first is that she's a fan of Dracula, and who knows, maybe she's even related to the Count of Transylvania, since she has a very old surname. But we say this more because she has a coffin as a bed, in the best vampire style. Besides, she loves honey badgers, as above her coffin, her bed, there's a huge painting of a honey badger. Not to mention that she loves pink, as we can see from her bedspread and the armchair in the corner of her room, and in the details of the chandelier near her window. Besides all that, one thing is for sure, she's a pretty scary person, and surely must have tormented all her students forever. Who knows, maybe Gru was her student or Poppy is currently. It would be really cool to see what she was like when she was younger and when Gru was a teenager too. Poppy's cat. Now let's talk about the movie's pet characters. After all, who doesn't love pets, right? The only pets in the franchise's movies so far were Kyle, Gru's piranha dog, and Agnes's unicorn goat. And now in Despicable Me 4, we'll see that Poppy's kitten will join this select group. And actually, we don't know its name, but we know it's very companionable and surely very good at dancing. But like any good cat, we know it doesn't really like adventures and probably prefers to stay at home whenever possible. That's why we don't see it with Poppy when she's with Gru invading the villain's academy. It's very cute, and when I saw it in the trailer, I really wanted to stroke its fur. Too bad it doesn't really exist. Nobody knows its name yet, but I think since it wears clothes with P, and to match Poppy's name, it should be called Pep. If you think this name is cool, comment down below, #Pep. Otherwise, you can suggest a name you think suits it. Honey Badger. In addition to Poppy's cat, another pet that appears is the mascot of the Supervillains Academy, the terrible and brutal Honey Badger. We see that the animal is very strong and ruthless when it comes to unwanted visitors, which is reflected in reality since in the animal world, honey badgers are indeed considered very aggressive animals. But it seems that what it really likes to eat is honey. And Gru Jr., realizing this even as a baby, manages to tame the animal and make it docile. When I saw this creature in action, I wondered, would it get along with Kyle? It would be interesting to see the two of them together. Gru's rival. This is now what we call the mysterious character. This is because Gru ends up moving to the town of Mayflower. And we know that in all of Gru's movies, there are always two or more striking new characters. From what we could tell, the city where Gru's family moved is kind of a place created by the Anti-Villain League to shelter people who need to hide. Maybe that's why Poppy lives alone there. So, for sure, Gru will have some neighbor who will become his rival and against whom he will probably play tennis, since we see them dressed in sports clothes and even one of the minions blowing a tennis match whistle. So, it wouldn't be absurd to see Gru having to compete his new sports skills with some agent from the anti-villain agency who might be trying to steal Lucy's heart. Of course, this is just a theory, but I really believe it could happen. These are all the new characters we've investigated and brought to you down to the smallest details. The Despicable Me movies just keep getting better, and the fourth movie in the franchise promises to be amazing. While we wait, we've selected some really cool videos for you to enjoy and watch here while we can't go to the cinema to watch the Minions, Gru and his family. Just choose one of the two videos that appear there for you to have fun. Thanks, and see you next time.